What's up, guys? Today we're going over the Iron Banner SMG, the Hero's Burden, which is going to be a void SMG with destabilizing rounds on it, the only primary in the game with this perk so far. So in this video, we'll be going over how to get this weapon, going over the best roll on it, and seeing how good it is overall. So first, how do you get this weapon? Well, simply put, you just play Iron Banner. You can get drops upon match completion and get engrams from ranking up. The best way to rank up is to throw on all these things right here to increase the rep you get. So you're going to need an Iron Banner emblem. Then you're going to need 5 pieces of Iron Banner gear, and ornaments do count. So what I usually do is 4 ornaments plus my exotic. Then usually 1 weapon, preferably a heavy. That way you can still use whatever primary and special you want. And doing that and the 4 weekly challenges will give you the max rep gains and give you the most engrams in the least amount of time. And once you have those engrams, just like most other vendors in the game now, you can directly focus for the Hero's Burden. You first have to unlock the weapon. If you played in previous Iron Banners, you might have it already. On my account, I did not. So what I had to do is freely open the engrams trying to get the weapon in the first place, and luckily I did. But then once you get it, you can focus for it pretty easily, and hopefully it doesn't take that long to get a decent roll. And unfortunately, the SMG is not on the unlock track. So if you don't have the SMG, like I did, you just have to purely get it from luck, from post-game rewards, or just randomly opening the engrams. So jumping into this weapon and looking at why I'm even making a video about it, it's going to be a 900 RPM void SMG, and the only primary in the game with a new perk, Destabilizing Rounds. So the role you want for PvE is going to be Feeding Frenzy plus Destabilizing Rounds, and that is really the only role you should be going for. Nothing really else worth mentioning. And looking at this perk, Final Blows cause nearby targets to become volatile. And since this is the first primary, looking at how it works, so once you get Final Blow, things within, I think, a 6 or 7 meter range will become volatile. It does not do damage from the actual first kill, like a Dragonfly or something like that. All it does is literally apply volatile to nearby targets, and you have to then shoot them to make them actually explode. And the thing about this perk is there's roughly a 3-second cooldown on how often it can be procced, which is pretty unfortunate. So there's already 2 things I don't necessarily love about this perk. One, the actual initial kill doesn't trigger any explosion. All it does is make nearby things volatile. You have to then still shoot them to cause the explosion to happen. And then 2, the fact that it's on a cooldown and the radius is relatively small. Unless there's a lot of veins like really tightly packed, you're not going to get too much value out of this perk in a lot of different situations. And comparing it to Volatile Rounds, which you can get for free this season with Volatile Flow from the artifact, or in future seasons and this season with Void 3.0 with this fragment right here. With any Void weapon in the game with Volatile Rounds, when you hit a target, it will apply Volatile to them. Follow-up hits will make them explode. So Volatile Rounds are just always going to be better than Destabilizing Rounds in its current state, because it will apply it to every single thing you shoot. And of course, you can combo this with the Destabilizing Rounds on the SMG, where now every 3 seconds a Final Blow will spread volatile, then every single target we hit also will apply volatile. So really with this combo, the Destabilizing Rounds really doesn't do anything, right? Everything we hit is already going to become volatile because of Volatile Rounds. So there's really no point even comboing this, and I would rather just have an Unforgiven with Demo plus Repulsor or a damage perk. And every subclass in the game now has one of these subclass based like round perks. So comparing it to the other ones in the game, with Incandescent, not only can you enhance the effect with fragments on Solar and build into it, the initial kill will cause an explosion and do damage and make them burn over time, and can get kills without having to follow up and shoot them again. And there's no cooldown on the perk, so every single Final Blow will cause that explosion. And then if there's a lot of things nearby, they eventually can ignite, making it scale very well into harder content. Then we also have Volt Shot, which doesn't need any build at all to make it really good. It's one of the best perks in the game. It's one of the best damage perks, one of the best accurate perks. It's just all around extremely good. So comparing Volt Shot to Destabilizing, it's not even close. Volt Shot is just straight up better in almost every way. Then we have 2 perks that are kind of like Dragonfly for their subclass. First one being Hashlane, where Precision Final Blows will spawn in the thread lanes, which once again can be enhanced with fragments on Strand. And we've already made a lot of videos with this perk this season. Get Precision Final Blow, and it will spawn in the thread lane, which will do a lot of damage, easily kill wherever it hits. Then on Warlock, you can even enhance those even further with the Swarmers and make them unravel when they hit something. And once again, this perk has no cooldown. Every single precision final blow will spawn one in. And finally, we have headstone, which will be pretty similar but for stasis. Once again, this can be enhanced with a fragment on a stasis subclass and trigger multiple stasis fragments and aspects. So once again, it's really good for building into the subclass. And kind of like Hashlane, is this going to be a Dragonfly kind of esque perk, but for the subclass. So overall, with the way Volatile does not actually cause an explosion, it just applies Volatile to nearby targets, and the fact that it's on a 3-second cooldown, in my opinion, makes it by far the worst of the 5. So where do I see this being a useful perk? Well, you could make it work with Void Hunter with Stylus Executioner, where defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight, and combining that with the Gerfalcons, your void weapons gain volatile rounds after you merge from being invisible. The whole way this works is Destabilizing rounds will get you a volatile kill, which will then make you go invis, and then grant you volatile rounds. So really, this whole combo is just a way to give yourself volatile rounds, and at that point, the Destabilizing rounds becomes basically useless. So once again, at this point, I would just rather have a different SMG and become invisible one of the multiple other ways you can on Hunter. I also tried with this aspect on Titan to see if it worked out, and it really made no difference until I started using volatile rounds, which once again kind of makes the weapon perk useless. So overall, I'm definitely not in love with this perk for primaries. This season, obviously, you can get volatile rounds for free, but even for future seasons, if you're making a void build, it's always gonna be better to just throw on the fragment and get volatile rounds, because they're just gonna be way better. Then if you're not playing void, you could use this as a way to get volatile not playing void, but with it being on a cooldown and the initial kill not even causing an explosion, I would say you're better off using one of the rounds for whatever subclass you are playing, or just throwing on Volt Shot, which is going to be good all around no matter what subclass you're using. So even though I don't necessarily hate this perk and this weapon, I'm definitely not in love with it, and I do think it could use some help to make it more in line with the other 4 subclass round based perks. Like, why are there 5 and only one of them is on a cooldown? It really makes no sense at all. So I really think it needs to, 1, either not have a cooldown, or 2, make the initial final blow cause a volatile explosion. That way it would kind of be more like Incandescent, where just getting the singular kill could potentially kill everything nearby, kind of like a Dragonfly or something like that. And right now, with the fact that all it does is apply volatile, then you have to still shoot them, at that point, you may as well just build into volatile rounds and have that effect for every single thing you shoot, while also not being on a cooldown. So overall, I just really don't see where this perk will be used. As a standalone perk, I think is arguably at best 3rd out of the 5 subclass round based perks. Volt Shot and Incandescent, I would say, are easily better. And if you're building into Hashlane or Headstone, those are also better due to their subclasses. So as a perk in general, it's definitely not great. And if you try to build into Void, at that point, if you use Volatile Rounds basically make the perk useless by doing everything it can do, but more often. So even for a Void build, I don't see it being useful. So yeah, I think that's all my opinions on this weapon. Me personally, I'm still gonna get it on my account, just because I like to have all these things in case it does become useful in a build down the road. But in its current state, I don't foresee that being really necessary. And overall, I would just prefer to use it Unforgiven with better perks. Anyways, let me know what you think about this SMG down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.